and welcome to the Bruce channel. I'm Bruce, and it's been a busy week, particularly vis-a-vis some auditions, and in fact, I'm not even done with them yet. And for a bit of the week, I thought there would be no show, but there is one time-perishable item, so here we are. But it will be a shorty today, which I guess is appropriate for the Bruce channel. Anyway, some quick weather notes. Often we open with weather notes because it so directly affects all of us. Trade talks affect us too, but we feel weather so much more acutely. This time, not so much U.S. weather, but have you seen the news out of Paris? The Seine is flooding up to stages it's not seen in a century. Tourists, well, not only tourists, but everyone's being warned to stay away from the river because it might wash over the banks. Boats have stopped. There's no river traffic because the river is so high they can't cross under the dozens of bridges that cross it. And it's even threatening the Louvre. Meanwhile, in Cape Town, South Africa, it's the exact opposite. The drought has been severe. How severe is it? And I'm not setting that up as a punchline. It is so severe that even though they are limiting how much water people can use, they're recommending people use something like 13 gallons per person per day. Here in the States, we average about 88 gallons per person per day, so that's not very much. But they are losing the battle nevertheless. Day zero, the day they run out of water, was projected to be April 22nd. Revised estimate, April 12th. That's 2 weeks or so sooner. And if that happens, lots of institutions will close, even schools. Stay tuned. One other weather note, although it's not worthy of a headline, the other day I noticed an unusual sky here. Weather people always use terms like winds aloft. Good reason. It's the winds aloft that usually drive our weather. Certainly 2 weeks ago, the cold dip that the east felt was because of a dip in the jet stream. And of course, the jet stream is up high where the jets fly. And because they are so strong, it takes longer to fly from New York to LA than vice versa. But the other day, take a look. The low clouds, look how quickly they were moving, while the higher clouds, well, it struck me as unusual, something to marvel at for a few seconds, certainly not important. All right, in entertainment news, I'd heard about it, read about it, but it was only this week I finally got around to watching David Letterman's new show. It streams on Netflix. New ones arrive, I think, monthly, and it's called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. Well, he certainly started off big. His first guest, who in fact did not need an introduction, was nevertheless introduced by David Letterman as the 44th President of the United States. Yeah, Barack Obama. Two major takeaways. One, the audience. Now, it was recorded in front of a live audience, but there wasn't a desk, no set, just two chairs, nothing like his old show. And the audience knew that it was Letterman and someone, but they weren't told whom the guest would be. When 44 walked out, the audience freaked out. Immediately, they shouted and clapped and gave a standing ovation. That was pretty cool. Two, the show itself, marvelous. It wasn't an interview like you remember seeing. It was more like two guys who hadn't seen each other in a while and were catching up over a beer or two. So, what's it been like lately? What's the family doing? It was very poignant when the president told of dropping off his older daughter, Malia, for her first year at college, something that, all college parents recognize that feeling. So if you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend it. Entertainment news, too. I can't tell you much about this, other than I enjoyed a film called Passengers. I think it's 2016, recent anyway. Cast members include Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Pratt, Lawrence Fishburne, and Michael Sheen. I said I can't tell you much about it. Well, I could, but I can't tell you very much without spoiling it. It's sci-fi, it's outer space. If I tell you much more than that, I risk revealing too much about the plot line. I can tell you, too, that I'm really not so much into sci-fi in the first place. I've seen most, but not all of the Star Wars films. So if I tell you I enjoyed it, that's something. Okay, I can also tell you this. The special effects were pretty terrific. Entertainment News 3. Did you see the news? Candice Bergen is going to do Murphy Brown again. Yeah, as with some other shows recently that have been brought back to life, new episodes, Murphy Brown, will be reprised. I wonder what Dan Quayle thinks about that. And Entertainment News 4. This is just a few days ago. I saw a casting notice. I see a lot of casting notices. I work in film, and I wish to work more in film, so I look at casting notices all the time. Nothing in it for me. But this had some major points. One, it too is a remake. It's a remake of a classic. Maybe more than classic. What is what classic? Monumental icon? All right. Anyway, who's directing it? The film director of our generation, Steven Spielberg, will be making a remake of West Side Story.
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. Or wait, I can let others do it.
Welcome back. Remember, you can write to us at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com, and you can watch all of our previous shows at either our Facebook page or at tinyurl.com/Bruce Channel. Right. And you can write to us at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. All right, did you see the news about Alcatraz? In 1962, 3 prisoners escaped from the island prison. Their names were Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin. Now, it's often been said that there's never been a successful escape from Alcatraz, with the operative word being successful, because it was always assumed that nobody could swim the 1.5 miles of very cold water. But the news this week, a letter has surfaced. My name is John Anglin, and yes, we all survived. Barely, but we did. Now that's newsy enough. But is it true? Is it a hoax? Well, he claims to be 83 years old, to have cancer, and in the letter he says, if promised no more than a year in prison, he'll reveal his whereabouts and turn himself in. The thing is, the letter arrived in 2013. It wasn't made public until just this week. Even the family wasn't told. Anglin's nephew believes that it is legitimate, saying his grandmother, the mother of John and Clarence Anglin, received roses the rest of her life with cards signed by the brothers. So who knows? But, it begs the question, geez, wouldn't just basic decency mandate that they tell the family, in a timely way, not 4 or 5 years later? All right, for a couple of shows running, I've mentioned ABC's World News Now Wacky Show Close at the End of the Week, featuring accordionist Barry Mitchell. Sometimes he had guests. Take a look.
Weird Al Yankovic, I am going to teach you the World News Polka.
Let's do this thing!
Hey, politics and foreign wars, all the weather, all the scores.
That's the World News Polka!
By George, I think he's got it!
Around the world and up your street, the skinny is our gossip sheet. That's the World News Polka! It's late at night, you're wide awake and you're not wearing pants. So grab your World News Now mug and everybody dance.
Have some fun, be a pal.
Do like Barry!
And like Al.
Do the World News Polka! That's the World News Polka!
Insomniacs only.
That's the World News Polka! Who cares what the bosses think? They're a goofy crew. And if your neighbors call the cops, here's all you have to do.
When they yell, it's 3:30.
Tell them, hey, it's news to me. That's the World News Polka. They make us work the graveyard shift, that's why we go for broke. So why not tune in ABC and join our little joke? 5 whole days every week, we're here with a tongue-in-cheek. That's the World News Polka. That's the World News Polka.
He's got it! Weird Al Yankovic, thanks so much. Information at weirdal.com. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic. If you Google it or look on YouTube, there is also at least one outtake. All right, at the top of the show, I've mentioned time perishable. Are you ready for the trifecta? First time in over 150 years, which means it's probably safe to say this is our only chance. And it's been called a trifecta, but it's also been called, and I like this better, a Lunapalooza. So first off, as has been the case for a couple of months, we're going to get a full moon that's closer to the Earth than usual, so it becomes a supermoon. It looks bigger and brighter in the sky. And we have had some supermoons the last couple of months, but all right. You know, that was cute and all, but I always preferred this version.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart.
So yeah, it's a super full moon, but it's also a blue moon. So it's a super full blue moon. And you know, blue moons only come along once in a blue moon, right? You probably know, but it takes 29 days for the moon to orbit the Earth, and one of those days results in a full moon. For a blue moon, you have to have a second full moon within the same calendar month. And for that to happen, the first full moon has to happen early in the month, and the month it happens in, it has to have enough days. Safe to say, it won't ever be in a February. Oh, speaking of February, now this makes it super cool. It is not a leap year, so February 28th will have 28 days. The full moon is overnight Tuesday the 30th into Wednesday the 31st, meaning it won't be full on Thursday, February 1st. February will not have a full moon at all. But because of the way February does its thing, March is just like February. The extra twist means we'll have a blue moon in January and repeat the cycle in March. Crazy, huh? But that's not the trifecta. The trifecta is that it's a super moon, super blue moon, super blue blood moon. Why blood? Lunar eclipse. It will have a reddish cast. It will start not too long before dawn here in the east, so I won't have much of a window. But out west, get out of bed early and enjoy. Finally, upcoming this week, well, shortchanged of a full moon. On Friday, February will still have Groundhog Day. Yeah, I may watch the movie too. It's been a few years and I've always enjoyed it. Saturday is the day the music died. Yeah. The anniversary of the plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper 59 years ago. So, enjoy the super blue blood moon and then maybe make a trip over to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. But whatever you do, I hope your upcoming week is the best you've ever had.